Yes. Tell me about it. What's the matter? Oh. Oreo. Anyway, so next week I am on vacation, and it's going to be more of a staycation, if you will. I'm going to be doing some work to the plumbing in this house, and hopefully doing a nice backsplash. I want to do some upgrades to the kitchen before I tear this lovely floor up. So I have a plan. This floor has got to go. Not because we don't like it, but it's falling apart. This floor has been here for 60, how old is this house? 66 years. This floor's been here, and what it is, I know what this floor is made of, and you know what this floor is made of, but we're not going to talk about that right now. I will be using some precautions, and I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to do this job with the animals and the lady of the house out of here for a week. She's going to stay at her mom's for a week with the kitty cats. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be removing these tiles individually in one piece with a heat gun and a nice scraper. So we're going to get this floor down to the plywood, which is, I believe, 7/8 plywood. And we're going to cut out any damaged spots. I know there's a couple where that dishwasher is. The wood has rotted up to about here. So there's some water damage here from the old dishwasher. So we're going to I'm going to take my circular saw and I'm going to cut out whatever piece I need to. I'm also going to put new plywood underneath the dishwasher where there is none right now. The dishwasher is sitting on shims, basically. So we're going to cut that out, replace it. Then I'm going to put 1/4-inch Luan over top the plywood. And that's going to give me not only a smooth surface for the new floor, but it's going to give me the ability to remove the new floor, in an undetermined amount of time. Say 20 years from now we get sick of the floor and we want to do something different, or I sell the house 5-10 years down the road and somebody else wants to do tile. It'll be a lot easier to remove that floor than to have a... Oh, I didn't say what I was putting down, did I? So the new floor is going to be a black and white checkerboard vinyl composite tile, industrial tile, and I'm going to set it at an angle, just like I did in the condo. And so if you saw my older videos of me filming in my old condo, you might remember I had a peel and stick vinyl floor on top of an existing rolled sheet vinyl floor. And it was a kind of an alabaster white and a brown slate looking tile, kind of a almost like a Tuscan village kind of thing, which was popular back then. Now it's not. But I'm going to do this whole floor in black and white vinyl, which is a glue down product. You have to spread the glue, put the vinyl in place. Once the glue dries, you put the vinyl down, and then as it further dries, it actually sucks the vinyl to the floor. It's the same thing I did in the bathroom, actually, when I did that floor over. But I'm going to learn from some mistakes. So when I did the bathroom floor, I put an all new underlayment down. I did 7/8 plywood underlayment, and I just put the vinyl on top of that. And what that did is, so unfinished plywood doesn't have a surface that's good enough for vinyl. And what happens is all the imperfections telegraph through the tile, and it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look good. So I've learned from my mistakes that I'm going to do this floor over Luan. Now Luan is what you put down under the vinyl on top of the subfloor. And Luan is a finished product. It has a nice, smooth, buttery smooth finish. And it gets stapled down about every 6 inches onto the subfloor. And so I've got to get a pneumatic staple gun, and I have an air compressor, so I'll do that. I'm going to staple it with 1/4-inch crown staples every 6 inches, starting from one corner, working my way out. And then the edges, where the panels meet, those get sanded smooth so that they're perfectly level with one another. And then we put the glue down, and we put the vinyl tile down. But this floor, it's got to go. Unfortunately, it's just the condition is it's degraded. Now, I practiced by removing a couple of tiles along that back wall, and it went up pretty smoothly. So what they did back in the old days, and that's what I discovered they did here, is they put a layer of glue over the plywood, and then they put a layer of tar or felt paper on top of that, and then they put a layer of glue over the tar paper or felt paper. Then they put the tile on top of that, and what that does is it helps to remove or hide imperfections in the plywood subfloor, and it provides for kind of like a break layer as the tile and the wood expand and contract at different rates. That tar paper gives it a little more give, and that is why, by the way, the floor is failing, because that tar paper has disintegrated in some spots. It's separated, and that's why we have a problem. So I took some tiles up over there, and they came up buttery smooth, and I'm gonna do the whole thing. Now that's not going to happen until April, because I get 2 weeks where we basically shut down each year. Well, 3, but two big long stretches. That's April, and that's February. So what I'm going to do next week isn't the floor. That's going to be, like I said, in April when it warms up. There's actually a reason for that. So right now we're kind of in the middle of winter, and because of that, the humidity levels are really low. So if I were to do this floor now, for example, and I put a nice Luan, kind of a Luan underlayment on top of my plywood, I should say that the floor's construction isn't just plywood. So under the plywood we have 1x6 or 1x7, whatever, planks, and that forms. See, that just proves the point. See, all-wheel drive on a slippery surface doesn't always... You guys. So, we've got 1x planks on the floor joist. Then you've got your plywood. So we're going to have the 1x plywood Luan tile. Got it? Okay. Right now we have 1x plywood tar paper vinyl. Okay, I've thought about doing tile, and there's a reason why I'm not doing tile, because tile is expensive. It requires a lot of prep work, requires a lot of tools that I don't have, that I'd either have to rent or buy from Harbor Freight or something. I need tile saws, I need tile cutters, I need trowels and mixing buckets, and you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing it. And I would have to rip up all the plywood, every square inch of it. I'd have to put down exterior grade plywood and hardy backer and tile. So it's just, I'm not doing that. The other thing is, to maintain the look and feel of this kitchen, I really do feel that the only floor I could ever do that would look right, that would kind of maintain the aesthetic that I'm going for, is, you guessed it, vinyl tile. And vinyl tile is hard wearing. As long as it's installed right, as long as I don't screw it up too bad, it'll last many, many years. This floor is 60 years old. Now, one thing I should say is that the tile that they made 60 years ago was very high quality. This is probably a Ken tile product, and if you go on Google and search for Ken tile floor samples, you can see almost this exact pattern in the mid-50s. They actually had, but it could be Ken tile, could be Armstrong, there were a couple of different manufacturers, but Ken tile was one of the big ones. And but the product was quality, and it's because of what was in it as a binding agent, or as a filler. And that material, which is no longer allowed in new construction, I won't say the name. You know what it is. I know what it is. That leads to an interesting topic, too. What am I going to do with this floor when I pull it up? I have received many, many, many different mixed messages from legitimate sources, even. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to put the stuff in a bag, or a 6 mil bag, and I'm going to just hang on to it until I can find a good place to get rid of it, legal and safe place to get rid of it, because I can't get any answers. And I was quoted $4,000 to remove it by a professional. There are no laws, by the way, as a homeowner. If you have this in your house, you can remove it. There are some precautions that you must take. Respirator, seal off everything, take everything out of the room. You don't want that dust getting in the air. And as you're pulling the tiles up, you want to spray them with a little bit of water just to keep any dust from getting airborne. That's kind of what's been recommended to me. I've actually watched people do abatement work where I currently am employed. I've seen it done. I've seen what they go through. It's a process. But $4,000 to have a company come in and take it out, I'm not doing that. That's absurd. So I'm going to try to find a company that will take the stuff off my hands for a fee. And but I'm not going to do anything more on that. We'll just do what we have to do. I've talked to other folks who've done exactly what I'm doing, and they just discarded the stuff with household waste. I don't want to do that. I believe that's illegal. But desperate times lead to desperate measures in some cases. I'm not going to go that route. I think I have a company in mind that will take the stuff from me, but they're going to charge me a hefty penny too, a couple $100 to get rid of it. So, all right, what am I doing next week? Next week, I want to get some stuff done ahead of time that will save me time and aggravation later. So part of that is doing some plumbing. So what's the worst thing that could happen, right? You put in a brand new floor and then a pipe bursts. Ruins the underlayment. Now you got to tear it all up again. So let me show you what I got. So this is scary stuff. So take a look at this. This is the plumbing under the sink. Some of it's original, some of it's not. I can tell you that the hot water pipe has been replaced, for sure. It's not original, and that can stay. I'm going to cut that line, probably right where that T is, and I'm going to put a new T on it, and I'm going to move this. This is the pipe that feeds the dishwasher. Why they did this, I will never understand. This is the dumbest thing ever. It doesn't have to be this way. It should not be installed in this angle. I mean, that's just awkward and stupid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it across, straight across. I'm going to have to put an offset on there, a little 45 degree, not a 45, 45 degree angle on it, so it clears this pipe here. And then I'm going to put a new shutoff valve for the dishwasher. This shutoff valve is an accident waiting to happen. This is made from that plastic stuff. I forget what, I think it was polybutylene or something. This is the stuff, this gray plastic, that was part of many lawsuits, and it tends to break randomly. This valve has probably been here for 30 years or so, so it's end of life. The fact that it doesn't leak is just a miracle in 34th Street. Hey, bud. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to be cutting this, and I'm going to replace the pipe from here up, and then I'm going to put a new threaded fitting. See how these are leaking right here. These fittings are bad. They're all very slowly leaking and corroding, and that's no bueno. This one's rusting. This fitting for the braided line, it actually is all sticky and gross. I think what's happening to that is the rubber is disintegrating internally. That wasn't... See, the thing is, that's not even that old. It's not that old. Because that faucet's been changed by the previous owner. Let's take a look up inside there. So that faucet's fairly new. But it's coming out. It's coming out. I'm gonna put a. I've actually ordered a new faucet. I haven't received it yet, but it is a. Look for. So if you want to see what it looks like, just Google Kohler farmhouse faucet, bridge faucet. Kohler farmhouse bridge faucet. That's gonna be really nice. But anyway, moving along on the cold water side. We've got this little box. This was actually complete and intact when I bought the house, but I've since taken it all apart to see what's inside. It's got a pressure switch on it. I don't know what it's for. It was made by a Hot Point. That was the name on this. It was Hot Point. I don't know what it's for. It's a pressure switch for something. I couldn't tell you what for though. It had wiring leading out to it. I don't know where the wiring went. It doesn't work or do anything anymore. But it's like a flow switch or a pressure switch. I don't know what it's for. Couldn't tell you. But I've thought about what it could be. And I was thinking maybe it was, this is my initial thought. Maybe, was it Hot Point or was it something else? I don't remember. I thought it was Hot Point. But my thought was, it was designed to turn something on when the cold tap was turned on. Maybe a hot water heater. Maybe it preheats the water heater, like it gets it going. But then why would it be on the cold side, not the hot side? Doesn't make any sense. Was it for a dishwasher? I mean, what could it have possibly been for? I don't know. This house is not on a well. It's on city water, always has been. But anyway, so this section of the plumbing is original. This is the original cold water line, and that will be cut out and replaced all the way down to the basement. I'll show you why in a minute. But what do you think that is? It was a metal box. It had some switches and wiring. It had a roll switch on it, like maybe a reed switch. It's kind of like that kind of thing. But all the parts that came off it, I think I threw them out. Maybe I put them in here. Wishful thinking, right? But yeah, mystery of the millennium. What the hell is that switch for? Anybody know? Have you seen that before? But you can see the faucet is installed all weird. The thing is, when you pull up on the hand sprayer, this hose gets caught on this box. It's the dumbest thing ever. But anyway, if you're wondering what that is, that's a what they call an air switch. It's hooked up to this button here, and it turns on the. Scare you? Turns on the garbage disposal. That's the safest way to install a garbage disposal is to use an air switch. You can't get shocked. It just has a little rubber hose that feeds it. It goes right down into there, and that gets mounted to the wall or wherever, and that's how it works. But Anyway, let's take a walk downstairs. When I bought the house, it had this exact same InSinkErator unit, the Badger 5. I think that was in my original house tour video. But it had a switch right here, an ungrounded switch right here in that metal box. That was the metal box they used right here. You just flick it, which is the dumbest thing ever because it was ungrounded, first of all. So what do you get? You get wet hands. You got to run the garbage disposal. You reach under the sink, and you touch an ungrounded metal box. Yeah, no way, dude. Stay away from there. But I mean, that's just kind of foolish, I think. Anyway, but this faucet right here, this is actually a nice faucet. I don't want to throw it away. I'm going to probably try to find somebody who wants a faucet locally, like anyone in my family. This is a good faucet. This is a Moen. I believe it was installed by a plumber when the water heater was changed in 2014. Something tells me that it's about that time period. The water heater was installed by an actual plumber. I know that because it's a brand that only a plumber can buy, or a contractor. But this faucet seems to be about that same age. It's actually quite a nice faucet. The reason we're replacing it is because it's too low, and you can't really wash out deep pots, and it's just always, the sprayer's in the way. I got the sprayer on here, and it's just always in the way, but this makes it a lot more functional. The one that I'm buying, or bought, it's elevated. It has a nice, much deeper, or much taller spigot, which makes it a lot more usable. But this faucet's in great shape. I don't want to throw it away. It's this is one of the quality ones. I think this is like plumbing supply store grade. Like, you don't usually find these at Home Depot. A lot of those are much cheaper made, at least in the lower price bracket. But this is nice. Got a metal handle and everything. I actually heard about this is like one of the last of the good lower tier faucets. Like this was it, the single handle. I think it was based on a design that's been around for decades, and just tweaked a little bit here and there. But it's a good faucet, so I'm gonna try to find a new home for that. My shadow. Should have named him Shadow. Okay, let's talk about issue number 2. Before you ask, and someone will ask, when are you going to fix the floor joist? Well, truth is, I can't do it now. The wood that I bought to fix it hasn't acclimated. It's still green wood. So it's a good thing that saw's not on, dude. It's not weathered. It has to age a little bit before I can use it. Reason being is, fresh cut lumber, you're really not supposed to build anything with that until it's able to, I don't want to use the word weather, but it has to dry naturally for an indeterminable length of time. Because if you use it fresh off the tree, what's going to happen is you're going to have shrinking and warpage after the fact, and that can pull nails. It can cause the lumber to crack. So you really don't want to use it fresh off the tree. In fact, that's already happened. On one of these boards, there was a crack in it that was not there. Oh yeah, this crack was not here when I bought this. It's a brand new crack. So we want to kind of let it dry out a little bit. I think the recommended length for lumber of this dimension, here this crack wasn't there either. That's brand new. But I believe the recommended age time, if you will, is about a year. So it's going to be a while. And then once it finally, finishes shrinking and cracking, I'm going to cut off the cracked pieces and use the non-cracked pieces. But that's why lumber, when it's freshly cut, it gets stacked, and they allow for air spacing. That's not true, by the way, for lumber that you buy from, say, Lowe's. That lumber is actually kiln dried. So this is not kiln dried. I should have mentioned that. Kiln drying dries the lumber pretty rapidly. Not completely, but it does a good job of getting it to a point where it's workable. This stuff here is just, like I said, it's got to age. And they didn't have any kiln dried in the 2x10 or 2x8 full, what do they call that, rough cut dimensions. But finished lumber, yeah, that's usually kiln dried, so ready to be used. And Oreo is ever so curious. What's he doing? Why is he talking to that little box in his hand? Doesn't he know he looks stupid? Yes, he does. Exactly. Ooh, you know what these are. Or you don't. I don't know. You want one of these? Go for it. Where's your brother? Is he down here? Oh, there he is. Yeah, you can get it. You're small enough. I'll throw you another one. Here. Go get it. Don't get sucked in the fan. Okie dokie. So here's what we want to fix. This is going to happen next week. I'm going to shut the water off to the house again. I'm going to remove... Now, this is the hot side. I don't like this. Whenever you see green, it's not a good thing. Usually not a good thing. But what it indicates is a potential very slow, very undetectable leak. So the water's leaking so slowly that it's evaporating right off. That could be an indication of that. Now, it could also be an indication that water is condensing on it, say on a humid summer day, and you run the cold tap. Well, you're going to get condensation on all the cold lines, so that could be an indication of that. But one thing I can tell you is that these valves are NFG. That's the technical term. Well, you know what it means. So what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate these valves, and we're going to put valves at the point of service. So we're going to take these out. I'm going to desolder or cut whatever I've got to do. Replace this whole cold line. I mean, it's junk. Replace the whole thing. Maybe not. I'm going to have to reevaluate that. I might be able to save some of that and just replace it further up the line. The more I look at it, the more I realize I'm being overzealous. I don't need to cut it all out. It's not in bad shape. But if I just take this valve out, remove it completely, and then stick a new pipe here, and then put a coupler here, done. And over here, probably do the same thing. Desolder it from this union, this reducer here. It's a reducer tee. Take it from there and just put a straight piece. Now, this is another thing I want to do. This is a PEX line that I installed to feed my fridge. Fridges need water too sometimes. And I want to eliminate that. I think it looks tacky. And what I want to do is run a new copper line, probably from this is the hot water heater feed line. I'll put a T and an elbow up here and then run it up. Or maybe run it this way and then an elbow that way along the beam. And then just put a thread fitting on the end of it over there. This way we don't have that janky ass PEX line. And not that there's anything wrong. PEX is actually better than copper, but my house is plumbed in copper, so I want to keep it that way. But we can get rid of the shark bite fitting. The shark bite fittings are an accident waiting to happen. I've had one fail on me, and that's all it takes. Fail me once, you're done, son. But that shark bite fitting, 20 years down the road, it's going to start leaking when that O-ring dries out, because it will, because that's just what happens. That's it's just reality. But we can get rid of that shark bite fitting, and then just get rid of this valve. Put a straight line right there, patch it in with a union, done. And then, like I said, because we also got to replace this valve. So this valve has to be replaced with a quarter turn valve. So we're gonna again unsweat this guy here. We're gonna put a quarter turn valve in, put a new pipe in, whatever I got to do there, and that'll fix that. The thing is with these old valves is once you touch them, they will leak, and they will leak, and they will leak. They are so old. They say the average lifespan of these valves is like maybe 5 years, 10 years tops. And then after that, they're just going to leak. If they haven't been touched in 10 years, they're going to leak. These are what they call globe valves, and the way they work is quite simple and basic. But they are a directional valve. And if you look at the diagram of a globe valve, you'll see why. So you can only flow water through them one way. Otherwise, yeah, they're no good. These actually have drains on them. And what you do is if you shut the water off and you need to drain the line, you just open this guy up and it'll all flow out. So I'm going to make sure. Now this is an external spigot. This is a what they call a silcock. So that has to have a drain on it, because you want to make sure that you can shut it off on the outside and then drain the water from the line using this little tap here. So we want to make sure that the quarter turn valve for this guy has that tap. And I don't think I'm going to need one over here. I might. They're a little extra money to get them with taps, so I might just go ahead and do that. So I got to buy like 5 valves. So one for the hot, one for the cold, one there, one for the spigot, and then one for the fridge. So good times, good times. Another fun thing, when you have when your anode finally dissolves in your water heater, there's a fun thing that happens. So if your water heater is like 30 years old, chances are there's no anode rod left. The sacrificial anode rod is what attracts, I don't know the science behind this, but it basically attracts the electrons in the water, I guess, and it corrodes. It's designed to corrode. That's what it does. Ships have these too. Ships, water tanks. It's designed to take all of those ions that cause corrosion. I'm not using the right terms. I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a scientist or a politician or an electrician, but a sacrificial anode is designed to rust so nothing else does. And once that goes away, once it no longer is effective, it starts to look for other things to corrode. It could be the tank, but it could also be the plumbing. And one thing that is common on copper-blind or copper-plumbed houses and buildings is that the copper water lines will develop pinhole leaks all over the place. And you might get one here, you'll fix it, then you'll get another one, then you'll fix that, then you'll get another one, you'll have to... It never ends. And all the hot water lines in this house have been replaced. And it tells me that chances are, and knowing the history of this house, and knowing that it was neglected for so many years, this house must have had a water heater that had been neglected for decades. And they never bothered to check or replace the sacrificial anode, and it caused all the hot water lines to corrode. So they've all been replaced, except for a few spots. A few things haven't been changed, but this is a fresh pipe right here. This one's brand new. So all the way from the tank over, that is suspect, but we'll worry about that later. All the way this way, that way, and over here, and I think they replaced it all the way. Okay, so this is old, but that's new. Well, of course I did all that. But they replaced all the copper in this house on the hot water side. But there are a few spots where I suspect that there's some original piping, but like this one right here, I think that's original. But that water heater was installed either 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time. It was almost brand new when I bought the house. So that was done fairly recently. Little fun fact, little fun story, I should say. I used to work in what used to be an old mill, and it was a printing company. And they had an old forced hot water heating system. And it ran off this massive Cleaver Brooks boiler, huge, the size of a bus. And every couple of weeks, we would develop a new leak in the overhead hot water lines, the return lines and the supply lines. Every other week, there'd be another drip. The maintenance guys would get their, 90-foot ladder, go up there with a screw gun, and pop a sheet metal screw into the pipe. That's how they fixed it. They put a little rubber washer on there, and that's how they fixed the leaks. And we had pipes throughout that building that had screws in them. It was crazy. But that's what happens when you have nothing to attract those, those ions, I think it is, or electrons. When you've got nothing to attract them, they're there. They just need to find something metal. And it could be a copper pipe, it could be the steel tank itself, it could be the fixtures, but they start to get attacked. So every couple of years, it's a good practice to take the, I believe the anode is on either the cold or the hot tap, and it's affixed inside the bung, and you pull it out. It's going to be like a chain of zinc links or something like that. That's usually, I believe, what they're made of. And what are you doing? You are something else, man. But yeah, so you want to check that out. Look up the exact tank you have, model number, and find out where it is, and the best practice for replacing it. So there should be some quick disconnects here, like this one right here. So you can kind of disconnect the tank without sweat fitting anything. But the installer neglected. Oh, no, it's right here. There's one right there for the hot water lead, or hot water tap. But, yeah, good times. Watch out for that. Watch out for that anode, because it could sacrifice your tank or your plumbing. Not a problem with PEX. But I'm not replumbing my house right now with PEX, not doing that. But you look at that cold water line, all the way down to the floor. That cold water line is original, and it has no corrosion, nothing. It looks beautiful. And I do believe that the older plumbing was of better quality than what they sell today. I believe it had a much higher copper content than today's. Today's plumbing is, or copper plumbing is, it's an amalgam of a variety of metals. I think there's a lot more tin or something in it now, or something like that. But that was like pure copper. That's what scrappers go after right there. Yeah, that's what they want. They want that beautiful old copper plumbing, which holds up for generations. But any hoozles, that's what I'm up against. And one more thing, you probably noticed I've got a galvanized drain line. That is a vent. The galvanized, there's only one galvanized drain left in this house, and it's in the bathroom sink wall, which is going to be a bitch to get to. And it's actually right above my head. So there's a galvanized drain that's in this wall cavity. It goes from that vent stack right there. So the toilet flange is here. That goes up to the roof, straight up. And there's a Y in there for a drain for the bathroom sink. And it goes from here to about here. Just short length. So I've got to keep my eye out for that, because that will start to leak eventually. The question is when. But it clogs up every so often. I have to run a snake to it because the walls of the pipe are so corroded. You have to run a snake through it because hair and stuff just gets caught in it and it builds up a clog and like freaking. But I'm going to have to pull that wall cavity apart behind the master bedroom closet and then replace it. I might just hire that out. I don't want to mess with it. I just don't. Just get a plumber. I'll cut the hole, let him do the work, or she, whatever. I'm not sexist. But I want to have that done at the same time. Now check this out. Oreo, don't drink that water, please. That's for the plants. I don't even know what the hell. Oh my god. This sink is working out great. Loving it. No leaks. The new faucet, nice. It works. One complaint I have is that the spigot is too goddamn short. But that's how long they usually are for these. So they're not really designed for washing things. You're supposed to fill the tub with the spigot and, you know, do your washing that way. That's the idea. But otherwise it works fine. But you can attach a garden hose to it and use that to, you know, to do your spraying and such. So that might be what I do. Gotta get a short garden hose so I can wash parts and things in the sink. But so far, this thing's working out great. As I was saying, I want to have these main shutoff valves replaced. These are, again, original, like everything else. And, you know, they're not so nice. They don't leak in the open position, but they leak in the closed position, which is mildly infuriating because, well, you know, that's just not good. I haven't touched that one. I'm afraid to. That's the city shutoff. Well, no, it's not. No, the street cock is out in the street, but that's my last line of defense. If this sucker fails, I have one shot to shut the water off, and it's through this one here. Yeah, and if that fails, oh, I got a problem, a big one. But yeah, it's all original plumbing. Because why not? Even the water meter is old. This water meter is almost as old as I am. It was made in 7 of 85. I mean, I just can't believe they have never changed this meter out in that many years. They're supposed to do it like every 10 years. This one's 30, almost 35 years old. But yeah, so I'm going to have a plumber come in. They're going to shut the street off. And they're going to change out both valves. And that way, I will be able to shut my water off without, you know, water pissing all over the floor. Wouldn't that be grand? Anyway, so that's what I'm up to. Next week, do some plumbing, do some new faucet install, and then I'm going to relax. Exactly. You know, you're right. I should relax. And spend more time with you. And Amelia, of course. Naturally. Alright? Is that right, bud? Hey, come say hi. Oh, I gotta go to bed. Curiosity, bud. You know what they say? Yes. Oops. Let's go for a ride. Let's go upstairs. He's mad at me because I trimmed his nails today. Pissed him right off. He was not happy. Okay, alright. So, Those of you following the, or saw the video of this light fixture when I put that in, I did not end up changing the ballast. It's still got the original magnetic ballast in it. For whatever reason, it just hasn't failed. It's actually working pretty reliably. Fires right up. No issues. So yeah, that's working pretty well. Oh, anyway. To bed I go. I picked up some stuff for the backsplash. This is what I decided to go with. It's a brushed nickel finish. It's not real tin, but it's also not real tin pricing. So it's going to go along that back wall right there. I decided I'm not going to go this way. I'm just going to do that wall, and that's it. This is the faucet that just came in today. I had to buy this online. They don't sell this in the stores. So I ordered it from Home Depot, from their website. It took about 5 days to get it. Let's take a look at it, and hopefully this weekend I'll be able to put it in. I also got all the plumbing supplies I'm going to need to replace all those valves and get that all resolved. So this is it. So, feast your eyes. Gosh, that's heavy. What I don't like about it is there's nothing on the bottom, maybe there is, to support it to the, maybe that's what these are for. So that these holes, so it only uses the center hole. Like the faucet I have right now, it doesn't use the outboard holes for anything other than mounting. But this one is center mounted. The rest of it is all for show. And what a show. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece of faucet. It even comes with a matching soap dispenser, which is nice. I already have a soap dispenser, but this one matches. Hooray for that. It's anodized aluminum. So you've got your hot and cold. And this is the attachment. I believe this actually links up to here for the pull-out sprayer feature. And I didn't even need to buy those 20-inch faucet hoses. These were all integrated, so I can return those hoses that I bought. And I believe, according to the instruction manual, it looks like I'm supposed to, it wants you to flush it out. There's been a lot of complaints about these faucets for clogging up after install or during install. But that is so beautiful. Look at that. Oh my God. I am not worthy of this faucet. No, really. I did nothing to deserve this. Okay. That all aside. Well, it looks like that is a very... Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. Those little... Oh, here we are. With the Kohler logo facing, you install the faucet to the sink. Where the rubber gasket's facing downward, press a plate into the bottom of each valve escutcheon. And then slide the plate over the hose. Okay. So, yeah. That's what these little plastic things are for. These are supposed to lock into the existing holes, if applicable, to lock the unit in position. That's what those are. So, got a nice good sized bottle for the soap machine. Ah, this is gonna look sweet, and definitely of the farmhouse look that I'm going for, like that old 50s rendition of what a farmhouse should look like. That's kind of what I'm going after. And this is one heavy faucet. I would not, I would not put this on a modern day stainless steel sink. I think that would be a bad idea, just my opinion. I say that because the new stainless steel sinks that they sell today are razor thin. They are so thin. I have some friends who have a house that was, it was the flipper house. I've mentioned it before, but it has a new stainless steel sink in the countertop, and whoever installed it didn't clip it in correctly. And they've got a faucet like this right now, and it flops up and down. The whole sink just bends and flexes. So I went in there and I actually fixed it for them as best I could. But it's not enough. The sinks are so thin today that you need... This is a cast iron sink. This ain't going anywhere. That faucet's not going to break it. But if you have a cheap, low-cost, modern-day stainless steel builder, Home Depot sink, this is probably going to bend it with just a little bit of provocation. I'm not saying that to trash people's sinks and say that they're all bad or anything, but that's just the reality. But this is going to be a fun install. What's this for? Oh, this is the weight. Yeah, okay, I know what this is. This is a weight for the braided hose for the pull-out. Let's see how that looks. When I pull this guy out, it's going to pull on this hose here, and then I push it back in. Okay, let's see. And it mags in place. It's held in with a magnet. Locks right in there. Okay. Let's see how that goes. And then this guy, this is the, if I can get it out of the packaging. There we go. This weight, well, I'm not sure how that's going to work given the way my under-counter situation is. There's not a lot of room in there, But I imagine I have to clamp this in. Once it's all installed, this gets clamped in, it comes apart, and then you just clamp it around the line wherever you want it to stop. So that all makes pretty good sense. This is beautiful. Looks better than it did on the website. I mean, did it no justice. But don't be fooled. This is not made like the old-fashioned ones were. It's just made to look like it, and I'm okay with that. But it's not going to last like, a 1920s faucet. It's meant to replicate something from like the 1920s or 1900s. And, sadly, it's not going to last for 70 years like those would have. But that's okay. That's okay. Where did this go? I'll figure it out. Until then, I'm going to probably do a follow-up video when I get it all done, and you'll see what it looks like. That's kind of the before picture. Wait for the after.